I didn't recognize him at first. Not the boy I raised, not the man I put into tailored suits and corner offices. Just a figure on a park bench, shoulders folded inward, a child asleep against his chest, two suitcases at his feet like punctuation marks at the end of a sentence he didn't write. I asked the question anyway. "Why aren't you at my company?" He looked up like a man caught trespassing in his own life. "I got fired," he said. Then, quieter, "My father-in-law said we're not good enough." I smiled. "Get in the car." He didn't know who had been paying his father-in-law all these years. He didn't know I was done pretending. I remember the first time I met him, my future enemy. A handshake that lingered too long, a smile that measured before it warmed. He spoke about legacy like it was a weapon, not a responsibility. Back then, I mistook his polish for principle. My son was in love. That made him blind. I was cautious. That made me silent. I helped anyway. Seed money, introductions, quiet guarantees. I didn't attach my name. I attached results. That was my mistake. The man built an empire on borrowed confidence and my invisible spine. Every contract he won, every politician who returned his calls, those doors opened because I stood behind them, unseen, paying the toll. He called it independence. I called it insurance. The betrayal didn't arrive screaming. It whispered. Board meetings moved without me, payments rerouted, my calls returned later, then not at all. My son came home exhausted, uncertain, apologetic for things he couldn't name. His wife stopped meeting my eyes. The child learned to walk while I learned to wait. Then came the message, not to me, never to me, to an associate who didn't know whose loyalty to keep. "We don't need him anymore. The old man is replaceable. Blood makes people weak." I read it once, then again. Then I closed the file and poured a drink I didn't touch. I didn't confront. I audited. Anger is loud. I chose silence. I mapped every dependency, every shell company that funneled money where questions weren't asked, every politician whose campaign had been saved, every loan extended on a handshake and a promise of protection. I didn't pull the plug, I loosened it. A delayed payment here, a compliance inquiry there, a whispered concern passed to the right regulator over lunch. I let him sweat without knowing why. Let his advisors turn cautious. Let his allies discover principles overnight. When he finally called me, his voice was respectful again. That's how fear sounds on powerful men. I told him I was busy. I told him we'd talk soon. The firing was his final move. My son escorted out with a box like a thief. My grandson's stroller folded and stored like a liability. That's when I went to the park. I watched my son explain failure to a child too young to understand shame. I watched him apologize for choices that were never his. I watched him carry weight that belonged to me. That's when I smiled. The confrontation didn't happen in an office. It happened at a charity gala he couldn't cancel. I waited until the room was full, until the cameras were close, until the donors were listening. I took the stage under the guise of generosity. I spoke about family, about stewardship, about the danger of mistaking power for ownership. Then I named numbers, dates, structures. I didn't accuse, I revealed. The room went quiet in that specific way, when everyone realizes the ground has already shifted. He tried to laugh it off, tried to interrupt. I thanked him for his service to my family, past tense. I told the room I'd reassumed direct control of every asset that had ever carried my money. I told them audits had begun. I told them resignations were expected. He understood before anyone else did. That was my gift to him. He called me later, not angry, not pleading, empty. "You destroyed me," he said. I corrected him. "No, I stopped protecting you." Silence stretched. I could hear him counting losses. "What do you want?" he asked. I thought of the park, the bench, the suitcases. "I already took it," I said. "My son works with me now, not under me, with me. He's learning the difference between kindness and permission. The child laughs more. That's how I measure success now. As for the man who mistook my patience for weakness, he's alive, he's free, he's irrelevant. Justice isn't loud, it doesn't need witnesses. It waits, it watches, and when it moves, it doesn't miss. I don't regret the years I spent building him up. I regret not tearing him down sooner, but timing is everything, and this was perfect."